Good afternoon, everybody. This is Jeff Jenkins and Eric Clayman again in this our maybe it's the 21st
I'm going with 21.
episode of our Facebook Live series. We do this every Thursday at 2 p.m. And today we're going to be talking about unemployment. And if we run out of things to talk about, we're going to talk about weapons. So
We're going to talk about the United States Constitution, Jeff.
yeah, well
That's what you mean.
that too. Yeah.
I mean, we are lawyers, so we haven't spoken about the Constitution much yet.
No,
So
no.
let's throw that out there.
Yeah, really. So we're looking at unemployment as far as New Jersey is concerned. And let me first go over quickly what unemployment consists of, just plain old unemployment. Forget about COVID-19 and the CARES Act and all that other stuff. But I'm going to go through that too. But if you go to get unemployment in New Jersey, you get 60 to 70% of your normal pay. And there's a lot of other rules in there, but I'm not going to go through all those.
And it's capped at what,
$713 a week
Right.
would be the maximum you could receive. Now, there's an excellent pamphlet, if you will, online that you can look at from the Department of Labor. And you can put Department of Labor COVID unemployment information. And you should get that, and that'll tell you a lot of good stuff. So, the CARES Act. The CARES Act had a pandemic unemployment assistance portion that did some extra things to unemployment beyond what our state would do. So one of the things that it provided for was $600 of additional unemployment per week, but that was over with at the end of July 31st, 2020. It also provided for an extra 13 weeks of unemployment. And in New Jersey, you get 26 weeks. You add 13 onto that, that's 39. And relatively recently, New Jersey added another 20 weeks on to the unemployment time. So you really get 59 weeks of unemployment right now between what the state gives you and what the federal government gives you.
Those extra weeks, Jeff, I think are automatic. I think they're in the law. Once New Jersey's unemployment rate is above a certain percentage, they do kick it up from over 26. So that happened, plus the federal addition. So right, that's more than a year of unemployment compensation.
Yeah, it's a long time.
And when you talk about the 713 a week,
Mhm.
New Jersey is much more generous than our neighboring states. Certainly, New York is in the low fives, and so in that sense, living in New Jersey and not having a job is a little bit better than elsewhere. But in other senses, and you're going to talk about this, we didn't get that extra weekly benefit, did we? That some other states got, that $300.
Well, we're going to talk about that.
Right.
So, in the CARES Act, where it talks about this increased unemployment aspect of the act, they identify who can get unemployment, COVID style. You know, with the the
COVID
extras,
style.
the extras. You know, from the CARES Act. And I'm not going to go through every one, but it adds things to what would normally happen under state law. So it says if you have COVID-19 or have COVID symptoms and you're seeking a medical diagnosis, you can get that additional unemployment. If you're a member of a household that has COVID-19, somebody has COVID-19, you can get that extra unemployment. A caregiver for a family member or a member of your household who has COVID-19, you qualify for that extra unemployment. If you're the caregiver for a child or a family member who can't go to school because the school's closed due to COVID, you can get the
That's really
extra
the
unemployment.
catch-all that so many people have been able
Yeah,
to
I mean
use.
that's
Yeah.
a big one right there. If you've been advised by a medical provider to self-quarantine due to COVID, you'd be eligible for that extra unemployment that the CARES Act provides for. And if your job where you work, if it's closed or permanently or just temporarily and it's due to COVID, then you can get the unemployment.
Right.
So that's kind of the requirements for the extra things that the CARES Act provides for unemployment.
And basically everybody has gotten it, is my understanding.
Yeah, yeah,
Without being too cynical,
right.
they haven't been.
Now, at the end of August, and if you read the papers, you know that Congress is trying to work on another stimulus package. And shockingly, the Republicans and the Democrats don't quite agree. And so if they ever get that ironed out, maybe we'll see another stimulus package.
Jeff,
I
they
mean,
were talking about it today,
Mhm.
that the Republican side is offering $400 a week extra,
Right,
and the Democrats want a little bit more. They'd like to go back to the 600. And of course, a lot of people watch our videos. I mean, thousands and thousands watch them weeks afterwards. Today's October 1st. If you're watching this, you might know the answer to this. But as of now, we talked to a lot of clients who had that enhanced $600 a week
yes,
through July 31st. Now they're really struggling.
yeah,
And we really suggest that if you are really struggling financially, you should give our office a call at 856-546-9696. We have people that will answer your call and be kind and nice to you and help you out if you're having financial problems. If you had a job and we're collecting unemployment plus the 600, that was good. If you're not getting that 600 now, it's tight.
yes, absolutely. Right now in the country, 8.4% of the people are unemployed, which is down a lot from where it was just a month or two ago. But if you personally are tight on money, you're not getting enough to pay your monthly bills, I can suggest a couple of things for you to do. Number one, contact your creditors and just tell them what's going on with you. Let them know that you can't afford to pay or what you can afford to pay. And see if they have any relief options, because some of them might. Another thing that you could do is look into your local government and community nonprofits to see if any of them have funds to help you, because a lot of times they do, and those things are generally at the county level.
Right.
Okay, so
Just to tag on that 8.4%, we've talked about this before. It's 8.4%, but New Jersey is the second highest unemployment rate in the nation by state, trailing only Nevada. And we all can understand why Nevada's unemployment rate is so very high.
sure.
Jeff and I sometimes go industry by industry to see who's been hurt the most by COVID. And of course, hotel and restaurants are casinos, hotels, and restaurants. Nevada and New Jersey both have those in common.
Right, exactly.
I heard something, and that Asians in the United States through February had one of the lowest unemployment rates of any race in the country. And right now, Asian unemployment is soaring because many Asians, first and second generation, had small businesses,
Mhm.
little restaurants. Of course, the nail salons and things like that. They were killed by this COVID virus.
Sure.
And it's hit so many people, and we hear stories every day, and that's what we do. It's Jeff and I go to work every day and hear the stories and try to help people.
Yeah. Eric and I talk sometimes, well, talk every day, but we do. We talk about all the people that might be having problems, and the list is just staggering when you stop to think about it. Eric just touched on a lot of things, but when you think about an industry that's having trouble, you also have to think about all the things that support that industry. They're having problems too. So the hospitality industry, hotels, motels, and all the support stuff, food for them, the cleaning bed linens
The
and
linens
towels
and towels, right.
and the people that work there to clean up and all kinds of stuff might not have jobs at all right now.
Jeff, they say that women with school-aged children, 60% of women with school-aged children consider themselves to be in financial stress or financial duress right now.
Mhm.
3 out of 5 women in this country, between having to juggle keeping your job, if possible, and going through Zoom and other at-home schooling,
Mhm.
more than half the women in the United States consider themselves stressed or are actually under financial distress
Yeah.
due
Wow.
to the system.
That's something. At the end of August, August 28th, to be precise, the president issued an executive order and a couple of memoranda. And the executive order had to do with extra money on top of state unemployment. And what President Trump said was he wanted everybody to get $400 a week extra. And 300 of that would come from the federal government. In fact, he was taking it from the FEMA Disaster Relief Fund, which has $44 billion in it right now. And then he wanted $100 to come from the states. Well, as far as the money coming from the federal government's concerned, while they're pulling from a $44 billion pool,
$1 billion here.
it's a relief fund. And when that number gets down to 25 million, no more money can come out of it. He was just looking around trying to find something that he could use to pay people extra unemployment. And that whole thing will expire on December 6th of this year. But it's anticipated that the FEMA money will run out in weeks, maybe months, but probably more like weeks, when the government was giving out $600 a month. $600 a week, right? They were using up $10 billion a week to do that. Just to give you some sense of, and now we don't have as many people on unemployment now,
Right.
but when we did, that's how much money was going out. And the states, of course, are having a very difficult time. You hear that all the time. They're not getting the revenue that they usually do. They're not getting the tax revenue. Eric and I were in New Jersey. We're real close to the first indoor mall in the United States, the Cherry Hill Mall. And the Cherry Hill Mall pays a lot of Cherry Hill's property taxes. Well, the mall just told Cherry Hill, we don't have any more money, you know. All our retail stores had to close down, and you know, I'm sure that happens a lot all around the country.
Right.
For the same reason. So the states giving that other $100 is very iffy, and even if they start doing it, I don't think it's going to last very long. So that's kind of our thing, our update on unemployment.
Jeff, just one more comment on that. I don't think New Jersey ever received ever followed through with it.
Well,
Well-
they did. You and I talked about that. Initially, New Jersey wasn't sure if they wanted to do it. The governor said there's some problems with this. They're not thinking it all the way through. He was saying, what if we start giving people an extra $100 a week, and then there's a new stimulus package? Is New Jersey going to get refunded the $100 a week that they gave everybody? You know, that was just one of the issues that the governor was talking about.
So the people watching this, I doubt they've gotten that extra 300.
No,
It has
certainly
gone
not.
in other states. They have received it, and perhaps 400. Perhaps some of the Republican states wanted to support Trump and throw in the extra 100, but we haven't seen that. What we're really our clients and our friends and colleagues in New Jersey, what we're hoping for to help them through this is a new CARES Act, a new stimulus, COVID-based stimulus to help them out. But yeah, as far as unemployment, it's the state workers are absolutely overwhelmed. You have to be tenacious in your application. If you're good with a computer, apply online rather than by phone. And you must, in New Jersey, report any income that you have. Better to be on the right side of this than the incorrect side. If you get a part-time job or anything like that, you must follow the law and report that income, because eventually it's going to catch up. And Jeff, Unemployment overpayment, dischargeable in bankruptcy?
Yes.
I'm going to say no. Well, it depends. Of course, that's the answer. It depends.
It is.
We're both right.
It is dischargeable if you want to hear from bankruptcy attorneys about something like that. If you owe the state unemployment money, you can get rid of that debt in a bankruptcy. But if you apply for unemployment during the pendency of the bankruptcy proceeding, before you get your discharge, if that debt is eliminated, they can take the unemployment that you're supposed to get and apply it to what you owe. Because according to the regulations, you're not eligible for unemployment if you owe money to the unemployment folks.
The other thing is, on the other hand, if they find that you applied for unemployment while you were working and made an intentional act to do that, the state of New Jersey can sometimes consider that fraud.
Mhm.
And if they consider it fraud, they are a little more aggressive with their collection actions.
Yeah.
The good news is, the moment you file a bankruptcy petition, if one of the reasons you're filing is because you owe money for New Jersey and you're not very happy with their aggressive collection actions, we can stop all collection actions and do a payment plan.
Right.
And they accept the payment plans, and it works.
Yeah. In New Jersey, we see many, many times when people owe unemployment money, if they worked while they were getting the unemployment, the state will almost every single time contact the bankruptcy court and say this debt should be non-dischargeable because it's fraudulent.
Right. They say that even if it's not really fraud, so to speak, but
Well,
that's their position.
But they are very good about making a deal with them. And I mean,
Mm-hmm.
literally, you could make a deal for like $20 a month for the rest of your life or something.
Yeah, we work it out.
No.
It's so much better than having that hanging over your head.
Right.
I know I owe New Jersey. Someday I'm going to need unemployment. I don't know how to get rid of it. Call us.
Yep. Yep.
But Jeff, we are lawyers,
Yes,
and
we
we've
are.
talked about this. We haven't gone into the meaty United States Constitution
No.
and how it interacts with bankruptcy. So we've looked and we've looked and we found an issue.
We did. One of the, strangely, it seems strange to me anyway, if you look at issues people have, searches that are done on Google, and a big one is firearms and bankruptcy. So we're going to talk about that just a little bit.
Right, Jeff. Now you say strangely because you and I have been doing this for more than 30 years together,
Mhm.
and we file a lot of bankruptcy petitions, the most in the southern portion of New Jersey for sure.
Mhm.
And you and I never came across this as being an issue.
No.
But it's a real issue, and here's the issue. When you fill out your bankruptcy petition with the help of a seasoned bankruptcy lawyer, don't try it on your own. One of the schedules is called Schedule B, is a list of non-real estate assets. And it goes in order. You list your furniture, appliances, clothing, jewelry, vehicles, things like that. There's also a question about firearms.
Mhm.
Guns, shotguns, pistols, anything else you might have. And as we've talked about on prior episodes, when you file bankruptcy, particularly at Chapter 7, you're allowed to keep or exempt certain assets which you don't pay back. And we call that the shirt on your back. You file bankruptcy, you have the shirt on your back, you keep your shirt, and you don't have to pay anyone back. But if certainly you have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, that's beyond the exemptions. And if you do a Chapter 7, you have to pay people back if you have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. So there's no specific exemption for firearms, but there is a wild card exemption that covers bank accounts, cash, that can be moved and used however you like it. And we've never had a situation where someone had such an impressive firearm collection that we couldn't use the wild card exemption.
Right.
But Jeff, if they did, if someone had such an impressive group of guns that they're beyond the exemption, then in theory, one theory is a Chapter 7 trustee could take the guns that are non-exempt beyond the exemption, more than just the shirt on your back, and sell those guns for the benefit of creditors. Or
Right.
can they?
Well, that's the issue then becomes, is that a violation of our Second Amendment to our Constitution? You have the right to bear arms. If the Chapter 7 trustee can take your weapons, is he violating the Second Amendment? That's the question, and it's a very interesting one. Maybe it just kind of an intellectual thing generally, not practical, because we almost never have it. But
And maybe it's because we're in New Jersey. I would imagine maybe in Georgia or Texas or South Carolina, maybe you would see that more.
or South Dakota, the governor has ads on TV, and she had one the other day where she's shooting ducks with a shotgun.
Look like an expensive shotgun.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just because of New Jersey, but it is a fascinating issue, and it just goes to show you how, well, not to toot our own horns, but this is the type thing, the advantage you have in dealing with a bankruptcy firm rather than a single attorney is that Jeff and I, along with Stephanie and Rondi, the other attorneys in our office, we talk about these issues all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And we're thinking of how we can help you and how we want to alert you to any issues that could occur in a bankruptcy case. And again, there's several reasons why you want to use experienced bankruptcy attorneys who have formed a firm. Number one, your issues are unique to you, but we've seen them already, okay? But number two, if I'm on vacation or Jeff is away, we're working on these files collaboratively, and you're going to feel comfortable speaking to me. You're going to feel comfortable talking to Rondi, Stephanie, Jeff, and we have your back, and it's very, very important.
That's right. That's right. Well, I think we're about finished for today. We did pretty well. We got through the. We had enough to take up our time, and so we'll be here next week, same time, same place, Thursday afternoon, 2 p.m. And we hope to see you then. And until then, goodbye and God bless.